Everyone loves the end of the working week and the weekend that follows it. For Marina, it wasn't even Saturday and Sunday themselves that were especially sweet, but Friday evening, the preparation for them. Even as a schoolgirl, she loved to come home, have lunch, climb into her favorite armchair with legs, and plan the weekend. Where to go, what to do, with whom to meet. Today Marina, no longer a schoolgirl but a grown-up 35-year-old woman, a happy wife and mother, is once again going through her wealth and thinking about how best to dispose of it. So, tomorrow they decided to go to the dacha, to pick up the rest of the harvest, to enjoy the last warm days of the passing summer. So, today they need to prepare everything: bake pies, cook cutlets, pack clothes, and of course, the usual routine like cleaning, laundry, cooking dinner. Nobody cancelled. Marina did everything on automatic, the effect of many years of habit. Lena's daughter came running in and filled the whole flat with her ringing voice. "Mom, Mom, give me a quick snack, but I'll run to Aliska. They came from Turkey yesterday. She downloaded pictures of the amazing. Now she wants to tell me in detail." "Let's go to the table, daughter. Everything is ready. Eat and run," smiled Marina. Aliska, a classmate and heartfelt friend, lived in their entrance 3 floors above, very convenient and safe. The girls had not seen each other for a long time, before Aliska Turkey was a sports camp at Lena's. Of course they corresponded online, but live communication was still better. Lena left, and Marina waited for her husband Sergei. Now he would come, have dinner, help her pack for the trip, and they would discuss their current and future business. Everything would be as usual, without strong emotions and shocks, but quiet, familiar, and cozy. A key rattled in the lock, and her husband came into the kitchen. "Hello." "Hello, darling. Go get changed. Wash up, sit down at the table, everything is ready." "Yeah, I'll be right there. Is Lenka home?" She ran to Aliska's, ate and ran off. She won't be home before 8. "Good. You look a bit glum today. Is there something wrong at work?" "No, it's not work. We'll talk later." Marina shrugged her shoulders and continued to pack. Soon Sergei came into the room, sat down in an armchair, rubbed his temples with the palms of his hands, gathering his courage, then, as if throwing himself into the water from the tower, blurted out, "Marina, we parted. I'm sorry. I'm leaving you." "What? What did you say?" Could not believe her ears, woman. "I loved another, and I do not want to deceive you. I'm leaving." "Sergei, what are you saying? How can you?" She mechanically continued to pack summer bags, including her husband's things. "We have a daughter, and this year's wedding is glass, 15 years. I don't understand." "Marisha, please forgive me, but it just happened. I love another woman, she loves me too. I'm leaving her. You have to admit, it's more honest than lying to you and running off on secret dates." "Yes, of course, you're right. It's much more honest." Marina finally threw her husband's shirt past the bag, right on the floor, got up from the sofa, and went to the kitchen. Trembling hands poured herself a cold tea, but did not touch the cup. Sergei came in next. For some reason the main issue he considered the division of property, and now decided to discuss all the details. "Listen, Marish, let's solve all issues in a civilized manner. The flat is your inheritance, I have no claim to it, as well as the furnishings. We bought the car and the summer house together. They're worth about the same. I'll take the car, you take the summer house. Anyway, you don't have a license and you don't know how to drive, and you can always sell the cottage if you need it. I'll pay the alimony as it's due, and if it works out I'll put something on top. Do we have a deal?" "I do not care," shrugged Marina. "But in my opinion, there will still have to go through the court if there are children. There seems to be some kind of simplified procedure if the property is not disputed," objected Sergei. "Do as you see fit, I don't care." He hung around in the kitchen a little longer, then went to his room to pack his things. Lenka came in. She wanted to share the news with her parents, but they shocked her. She listened to the unexpected news in silence, thought for a while, then asked her father directly, "So you don't love me and Mum now?" "Why not love?" Sergei looked confused. "I still love you." "And Mum then, no?" "Lenik, what are you—" "It's not so simple. I love my mum too, but in a different way. And there I have a new love, a serious one." Mum and I are just joking around. Okay, I understand. Love and carrots. But tell me, will you move out now? Well, yes, I will. But I'll still come and see you. That's not what I mean. That's not what's important to me. If you move out, it means you'll live with your mistress, and we won't have to exchange the flat. Lena, what kind of language is that? Mum exclaimed. Mum, I'm almost 14, and I know who and what to call in these cases. I'm interested in a purely mercenary question. Are we staying in this flat? Yes, you and I are staying here. That's fine. It's not fun for me to change schools, friends, move far away from Alice. The rest, decide for yourself without me. The girl turned round and went to her room. And so a new life began. Strange, incomprehensible, unnatural. Sergei came when Marina was at work. He still had a set of keys. He took a little of his things, but admittedly, he didn't take anything extra. Sometimes he bumped into Lena. They communicated on the level. Hi, how are you? Usually the daughter went to her room, but she did not avoid contact. She answered his questions, helped him find something if he asked, but she did not take the initiative herself. She sympathized with her mother and tried to support her. Marina first of all tormented one question. Why did Sergei left? What did she do wrong? Where was lost love? After all, she tried to be a good wife. For herself followed, in intimate pleasures husband did not refuse, cooked, cleaned, did not annoy him petty nagging. When did it all fall apart? After all women's forums say that a woman always feels cheating, and she never had such a thought. Sergei was never delayed beyond reason, did not go fishing for a few days, carelessly left at home his phone anywhere. He did not smell of other people's perfume. There were no traces of foreign lipstick. Of course, sometimes he had to work on weekends and go on business trips, but there was nothing to be done. It was his job. Probably, it all started recently, but why did it come to divorce so quickly? Maybe it's witchcraft, a spell. She had read about such things. Shouldn't she go to some vorozheya, a sorceress? She started looking through adverts on websites. Literally all fortune tellers said some vague phrases and invited to a personal meeting. Finally Marina spit and agreed with Mrs. Natalia, hereditary sorceress in the 5th generation, who promised 100% result and personal guarantee. On the appointed day she arrived on the outskirts of the city, in an old, shabby, crusty apartment, went up to the 3rd floor, rang the doorbell. A young girl of the most ordinary appearance, looking like a first-year student, opened the door. I'm here to see Mrs. Natalia. Yes, come in. Natalia's expecting you. I'm just welcoming guests. Would you like some tea or coffee? No, thank you. Marina refused. There's no telling what kind of tea they have. Finally, from somewhere in the corridor came a hoarse voice. Rada, ask for a guest. The girl took Marina by the hand, led her along the dark corridor to a small, narrow room, sat on a chair near the table. The hereditary sorceress herself sat opposite. Well, beautiful. Will you tell me what brings you here? Well, I can see for myself. Man cheated on you, Marinochka found another. And you can't understand what you did wrong, right? And how did you know? Amazed Marina. I have what is written in the advert. Lawyer in civil matters? No, it says hereditary sorceress. Natalia sniggered. So let me spread the tarot cards. The sorceress began to spread strange cards with incomprehensible and horrible pictures, something mumbled, asked questions. In the end, she raised a piercing look at Marina. Well, my dear, jumped up? Thought so easy in checkers and pesters will play with you? That you are still easy to get away with your troubles, minor scratches, but if you do not take action, you're going to nail you to the full. What's that? Like this. Setup, sickness, betrayal, and a quick death in the end. It's a terrible professionally induced curse, specific for illness, for death. What am I supposed to do now? You'll have to remove it. Not by yourself, of course, I'll help you. The full rite, 3 days. 150,000. How much? Marina could not believe her ears. 150,000, repeated the fortune teller, or for your life I will not give a penny. But I do not have such money. As you wish, I see no other way. Sell something. Take out a loan. All right, I'll do everything, mumbled Marina. I'll call you when I solve the issue. Tomorrow I'll go to the bank. Okay, baby, but don't drag it out. It's not a joke. I won't drag it out. I came home completely upset. I knew it. A spoil. But who could have done it? Well, of course, Sergei's mistress. But why? Marina is not going to challenge her husband, so why do such a terrible witchcraft? It must have cost money, too. Or maybe there's no spoilage? But no, the sorceress seems to be real and gave her name and figured out the problem. Though, I guess 90% of people come with such problems. But the name. What a klutz. When she called, the number of this Natalia popped up, and in Odnoklasniki Marina under her own name, and the phone number is not hidden. So much for magic. This girl, what's her name, Rada, probably knows how to surf the internet, and she almost fell for it. Not 150,000, you hereditary scammer. And by the way, about the 5th generation. In those days for witchcraft could not only be imprisoned, but also shot. So, even this bullshit is not in favor of the fortune teller. Still, no matter how much she procrastinated, she had to tell her parents about the divorce. They had already asked her several times why she was coming alone, and where Sergei was hiding when they came to visit. As you might expect, the oohs and ahs, a bunch of empty questions and discussions about what and why began. Marina pretended that she was even happy to be released, and wanted to engage in career development, not to be a kitchen maid. It was frustrating that she did not have a soulful friend, which can complain and cry in the waistcoat. Somehow it didn't work out. There were friends, co-workers, neighbors, but all their communication was reduced to the discussion of trifles and superficial talk about nothing. Deep topics of personal life, divorce, loneliness were not discussed with them. I started visiting various women's forums, reading the stories of unhappy divorcees like her. I was surprised to find out that if she had thought to tell the true story of her divorce, she would not have been understood. There women told just terrible things. Her ex-husband tried to take away the flat. Another paid minimum alimony on a fake certificate, earning an order of magnitude more. There were those who got rid of alcoholics. Mamsikov, lazy. Formerly, Sergei could not be accused of anything. He faithfully paid alimony from his full earnings and bought Lenka nice clothes a couple of times. Did not impose his presence, honestly divided with Marina property. Their dacha, which she got after the division, offered to buy Marina's co-worker for a good price. Thinking, she agreed to sell it. On the one hand, she loved this dacha. It was associated with many warm memories. But on the other hand, all these memories were about the happy times of marriage. It was hard for her to get there, and it was hard for her to take care of the garden too. Sergei calmly signed all the papers, as they bought the dacha, being married. Did not claim any share, did not even try to find out how much money was received by the ex-wife. In the end, Marina began to slowly let go of the situation. Beautifully lost weight, began to look after herself again. Immediately around her formed a kind of society of single and even not quite single men. Ambiguous texts, compliments, invitations. Marina was close to accept the advances of an engineer from a neighboring department, Vasily. She wanted to raise her self-esteem, to feel herself a desirable woman. They even met a few times, but beyond an innocent friendly kiss, it did not come to it. She still felt married, subconsciously hoped for Sergei's return, and for a new relationship was clearly not ready. Then began trouble at work. The new bosses decided to drastically reduce the number of branches, and most employees had to write a letter of resignation. Of course, according to the law, the reduction was entitled to a solid compensation, but the bosses offered a compromise, a statement of resignation in exchange for a bonus in the amount of salary. Most employees, including Marina, accepted these conditions, realizing the futility of fighting with the management. Those who agreed were paid their bonuses, but the truth-tellers had a hard time. Some were dismissed for absenteeism, some for official incompatibility. No one got the truth. Marina decided that for the time being, she could take her time and not grab the first job she could find. It was better to rest, to undergo a comprehensive health checkup, which she had been planning to do for a long time, but kept putting it off. And repairs were also necessary. Not major, but still. She calculated the finances. Enough for everything. She found a construction team, made an agreement, bought materials. Workers began to do business, and Marina began to go round the doctors. And here she was waiting for a dastardly blow, a lump in the chest which turned out to be the very tumor, which she subconsciously feared all her life. Marina rushed to make repeated examinations in a paid center, but unfortunately the diagnosis was confirmed. After receiving the results, the woman sat in the hall of the oncology center and did not know what to do now. It was so bad at heart that a sneaky thought crept up not to spend on the operation and buy more sleeping pills, and she abruptly cut herself off. You cannot even think of such a thing. She has a daughter, elderly parents, who will she leave them to? She went to see the professor. An elderly, imposing escolapist waved away her fears. Why are you so worried, my dear? This is not the last century, when this disease was fatal without options. You found the disease in time, still in its infancy. If you go into surgery right now, you have a very good chance of being cured. But not 100%? There's still a risk? For 100% guarantee, it is not to me, but to God. He pointed his finger upwards. But there is always a risk. Even if you sit at home and do not get sick, the ceiling, you know, can collapse. She had agreed to the operation, and now she had to decide two important questions. Who to leave Lena with, and what to do about the repairs. She phoned Sergei, told him about her trouble, and asked him to take Lena with him for the time being. Sergei hesitated, but firmly refused. I'm sorry, Marish. I sympathize with you, but I can't take Lena. My Alla is about to be taken to the maternity hospital. I'm already torn to pieces. I won't be able to look after my daughter. I'll transfer a little money, but every penny counts now. But I'll help in such a case. And send Lena to her grandmother. Marina didn't start talking about repairs and other problems. She realized that Sergei didn't care about them now. She had to call her mother and confess everything. Fortunately, she was firm and reacted more calmly than Marina expected. She cried, of course, sobbed, but agreed to move into her daughter's flat for the duration of her treatment without hesitation. It didn't work out with the builders. She wanted to postpone the renovation for a fortnight, but the foreman shrugged his shoulders. We've already planned everything, cancelled other orders, bought the materials. Either we do everything as agreed, or we will not return the advance payment. We sympathize with you, of course, but this is our job. We also have families to feed. Thus, it turned out that my mother would have a double burden, to look after my granddaughter and to deal with the builders. It was not quite nice to my mother, but there was no way out. I did not want to lose a rather large advance payment. The operation was successful, but the treatment took longer, almost 3 weeks. Weakened, tired, Marina came home, hugged her daughter and mother, told them about the results of treatment. An unpleasant surprise was the results of the repair. Taking advantage of the fact that an elderly, intelligent woman, and even busy with her granddaughter, could not force the workers to do everything properly. They finished the work with many tails. They did not finish the wiring in the nursery, did not take out the rubbish, left dirt. But they took the money in full, promising to come and finish the job. Marina rushed to call and argue, but the foreman promised to finish everything in a few days and not to bother him with calls. A week passed, but nobody came. She tried calling again, but the phone was not answered. She called from her daughter's phone, but the foreman wouldn't talk to her. We've done everything we need to do and we don't owe you anything, and gave her the brush off. Spit on them, daughter, advised her mother. You can't be nervous, and this money will come back to them in a big way. They have no conscience at all, to profit from other people's grief. It doesn't matter, but how will Lena be in her room without light? We'll think of something, don't panic. And indeed, the day after tomorrow, Dima, Aliskin's father, came to see them. The girls were waiting for him in Lena's flat. He had promised to take them to a computer exhibition. He saw the dirty, heavy bags and shook his head. They haven't cleaned it up yet. Here, jackals. If only that. Marina almost cried. They have not finished the wiring, the room is still dark. Where did you find such clever? All right, neighbor, we'll help. A distant relative has come to see me. He wants to take a closer look. Maybe he'll move in. He's principled, the man grinned. He lives in a hotel, he says. I don't want to bother you. So he's an electrician and a handyman in general, and I'm not only good with my brains. So let's help each other as neighbors, as friends. The next evening he turned up accompanied by a short, stocky man, about 40 years old, named Igor. He couldn't really connect two words. Dima spoke mostly. But Igor instantly assessed the front of work, determined what to buy, and named the necessary brands and names. I'm sorry, Igor, but I don't understand it at all. You couldn't buy everything yourself, and I'll give you money. She started to open her purse. Okay, money, Igor muttered. We'll sort it out. They returned an hour later with a pile of wires and other materials, and Igor got to work. Dimin's role was reduced to the occasional give and take and funny stories he used to entertain the others. Soon the work was finished. Here, said Igor, I changed the wiring, and at the same time the sockets and switches. These experts of yours found the cheapest crap, and they probably charged you as for the branded ones. Oh, thank you very much, Marina blushed. How much do I owe you? Oh, come on. We helped you as neighbors, Igor muttered, and Dima added, just so you don't think badly of the whole male species, compensation of sorts. That's it, we're off. Now we'll take the rubbish. Girls, are you ready? We got to go. They went out, all four of them, taking bags with rubbish, and Marina, smiling confusedly, began to switch on and off the light in the room, admiring the new switches with a smooth, soft stroke. Then she sat down on the floor and cried. How beautiful it all was. Simple, unpretentious. Like a neighbor, like a friend. Igor was so nice. Silent, reliable, thorough. Tears rolled from her eyes. She didn't stop them. They seemed to wash away all the crap that had accumulated in her. Her husband's betrayal and departure, her serious illness, the ridiculous renovation. She believed that all the troubles would end here, and life would finally give her a wide, joyful smile. The doorbell rang. Marina opened it without looking. Igor staggered from foot to foot and mumbled embarrassedly, I've forgotten my pliers here. Come into the kitchen, Marina smiled. Now I'll feed you dinner, or it's not nice at all, not even offered tea, and then we'll look for your pliers. Oh, that's a good idea, because I'm hungry like a wolf. 6 months passed, and one day Marina bumped nose to nose with Sergei on the street. Hi, where are you flying to? She smiled. Hi, I'm here, not far away. How are you? Is everything all right? Did you hear that the operation was a success? Yeah. I'm totally fine now, I'm doing great. How are you? Yeah, I'm fine too, my son was born. I know, Lena told me. Well, congratulations, keep running. She waved her hand at him and walked briskly towards the stocky, short man waiting for her. He kissed her tenderly, they embraced, exchanged a few words, and went somewhere, holding hands. Sergei stood for a while, looking after the departing couple, shrugged his shoulders and went about his business, somehow feeling a strange annoyance and resentment